Oh, I mean, it's special. You know, those are guys that I spent 5 years with, you know, started my career with, made a lot of memories with. So I'm super thankful that they came out to support.
One moment, the crowd is watching a simple possession. The next, they're witnessing something unforgettable. A three-pointer drops, and suddenly the camera shifts. Not to the shooter, but to a reaction that says everything. Seconds later, the energy flips completely, because what happens next, no one in that arena was ready for. The calm before the storm. Game 4. Playoffs. Everything on the line. The Orlando Magic versus Detroit Pistons. The series already intense, the pressure already rising, and every possession now, it matters more than ever. Because in playoff basketball, there are no small moments, only moments that become big. And this game, it was quietly building towards something explosive. But nobody expected the first viral moment wouldn't even come from the court, the shot, and the reaction that stole it. The ball swings, spacing looks clean.
Jaren Jackson Jr. now in Utah, of course. Ja Morant still with the...
Anytime Banchero gets space and you set those step-up pick and rolls, he's still...
I forgot, my bad. Wagner, up to the races, bully ball to the rack. Harris on the move, inside.
In this series, and he's already got 4 of them in this first quarter.
Bane with the middle. Over for Orlando. They're nearly halfway there. We're not even at the quarter. Cunningham for 3. Yes.
And maybe
Banchero. Hard drive.
looking for their early offense, so impressive.
Banchero looks it all year. Trying to demonstrate you can't. Into the hands of Duran. Mid-range Jay is good. Cunningham ahead to Harris. Harris beating the pack. 7 points for Tobias Harris. Cunningham on the move, flips it up, and is fouled, and will go to the... Again, averaging 31 for the series game. And Pistons slowly but surely weathering that rest of this opening quarter. And worth mentioning Kevin Huerter out there.
Then, Desmond Bane pulls up. No hesitation, release, splash. A cold-blooded 3. One of those shots that feels automatic the second it leaves his hands. And in a playoff game like this, that shot matters. In fact, it was part of a late-game run that helped seal the win for Orlando. But somehow, that wasn't the moment everyone talked about. Because the camera caught something else.
And Clark. Probably the most exciting player in the league in the first half.
Morant wide open for the key. Career high in that one. On the drive.
Talking with Tony, you do the best you can initially, and you see him explode.
Half court line. And he scores. Deflects back out to Memphis, and Bane takes it back.
You can't give him any space.
6'11", 265 as Morant gets the end run.
Bigs, especially he's going downhill like that. You can see Jakob him down, because once he picks up the basketball, you just don't know. You just don't.
Away with it. Back to Bane and a corner 3. Fourth quarter before Denver finished him off, but turnovers is what did. Morant quickly. Welcome back, fourth quarter. Go on defense and the bucket.
You know the Memphis Grizzlies are going to come right at you in this fourth quarter. That's why they're getting good shots.
Kicks it out. Bane for 3.
Standing courtside, watching like a fan, was Ja Morant. And the second that shot dropped, he exploded. Jumping, smiling, losing control of the moment. Not like a superstar, not like a competitor, like a teammate who misses that feeling. Because once upon a time, Bane and Morant were running the league together. And in that split second, you could see it. The chemistry, the memories, the connection. But while everyone was still reacting, the game didn't stop. And what came next changed everything.
The play that shook the arena. The Pistons push. Trying to respond. Trying to regain control. The ball moves. The defense shifts. And suddenly, there's a lane, a small opening.
But in the NBA, that's all it takes. Because when you hesitate, someone else doesn't. Enter Jamal Cain, driving, exploding, no fear, no hesitation, and standing in his path, Jalen Duren, a defender ready to contest, a body in position, a moment that usually ends with contact or a reset. But not this time, because Cain didn't go around him, he went through him.
Season with the dunk of the playoffs.
Absolutely. It's going to be tough. I mean, look at him going right into a hop step in the Jalen Express.
Here's Jamal Cain. He gets rolled through. He just launched through the air and yammed it. Out of nowhere, Jamal Cain.
Urine fills.
Oh, my. Off the trampoline.
Jamal Cain down the lane and jams it. Cade to forecourt. Cade from the lane. Fires. It won't fall. One tap. Cain has the crowd buzzing. Then Caro down the lane.
The dunk that changed the game. One step. Hop step. And then liftoff. Cain rises. Not just above the rim, but above the moment itself. And what happens next is pure violence. A one-handed slam right over Duren. No angle, no mercy, just impact. The arena erupts, then pauses, because even the crowd needed a second to process what they just saw. This wasn't just a dunk, it was domination. A play so powerful, it instantly became one of the best of the entire postseason. And in that moment, everything changed. Slow MO breakdown. Look at it again. The footwork, the timing, the elevation. He gathers, reads the defender, and instead of avoiding contact, he embraces it. That's not just athleticism, that's confidence, that's mentality. Because in the playoffs, you don't just score, you send messages. And this one, it was loud. But what makes this moment even crazier is where Jamal Cain came from. From unknown to unstoppable. Jamal Cain wasn't supposed to be the headline. He wasn't the superstar. He wasn't the name fans were waiting for. In fact, he entered the league undrafted. No hype, no guarantees, just opportunity. And in moments like this, that's all it takes. Because sometimes the biggest stage creates new stars. And in Game 4, Cain didn't just play his role, he owned the moment. Finishing the game with energy, rebounds, and impact plays that shifted momentum for Orlando. But let's be honest, nobody remembers the stat sheet. They remember the dunk. And here's the scary part. That dunk might not even be topped this entire playoffs. The aftermath. The crowd? Still buzzing. The bench? Losing their minds. The commentators? Speechless. Because how do you even describe something like that? It wasn't just skill. It was energy. It was timing. It was chaos. And in playoff basketball, that's what wins games. Moments like this don't just hype the crowd. They break momentum. They shake confidence. They shift entire series. And just like that, Orlando had control. 2 moments, 1 story. Think about it. 1 sequence. 2 completely different moments. First, a perfect 3, followed by pure emotion from a superstar watching courtside. Then, an explosive dunk from a player nobody expected, destroying a defender on the biggest stage. That's the NBA. Unpredictable, unscripted, unreal. Because sometimes the biggest moments don't belong to the biggest names. Game 4 will be remembered for a lot of things. The pressure, the intensity, the stakes. But above everything else, it will be remembered for 2 moments, a reaction and a dunk. One showed emotion, the other showed dominance. And together, they created one of the most unforgettable sequences of the 2026 playoffs. Because in the NBA, you don't need a full game to make history. Sometimes, all it takes is a few seconds. And if you love moments like this, crazy reactions, insane posters, and plays that don't make sense, then you already know what to do. Subscribe now, and don't miss the next insane NBA moment.